Hi everybody, and welcome to my first impressions video about the game Second Extinction. But before I talk about the game, I would like to give a big thank you to everybody that watched my first video, where I unboxed the new Electric Volt Xbox wireless controller, and an even bigger thank you to those of you subbed to my channel. You are all far too kind, and I really appreciate everything you've done. Thank you so much. So as those of you know who watched my first video, I am very new to this, so I have been very fortunate in having someone like Wandering Dutch, who has not only helped me with a lot of the work on this video, but he has also been kind enough to invite me into the midweek Mix-Up Podcast Collective. I would just like to say I am very honoured, and I appreciate you, Dutch. You're a good man. Thank you so much. So, without further ado, I would also just like to say that this video is not a review. I don't believe that games that are previews, they're in the preview stages of gaming, that they should have a review. They shouldn't have a score attached to them. This game is not finished. They put a big disclaimer at the beginning telling you it's not finished, and because it's in Game Pass, you can pretty much just play it for free, assuming you've got Game Pass. I don't agree with them. They do ask for £30, I think it is, or thereabouts, to buy the game. I wouldn't personally, for any game. But, you know, options are good. If you feel like it's the sort of game that you'd enjoy and you're willing to pay £30, knowing that it will almost certainly get better, then go for it. But me personally, I wouldn't. But Game Pass allows me to play these sorts of games and actually give my opinions on them and just give you some idea yourselves. So this is footage that I've recorded on my Xbox Series X. I haven't actually tried it on the One X, which I do own, but I can imagine it's probably very, very similar. The graphics on this game they're okay. They're pretty good, you know, for what they are. I feel like sometimes you can see in the footage now, there's a lot of snow, and it's like that quite a lot of the time. You get some nice clear areas. You can see the vistas, and the draw distance seems fine. I haven't seen any sort of any serious popping or anything. All in all, I think the graphics are pretty good. My biggest issue, and I think it's one that when I was playing with Dutch and Shambalan the other night, was that it's a bit difficult to try and grab some supplies out of those drop pods that you just saw, and later on you'll see me struggle with it again. This is an interesting bit here. I just sort of caught a bit of the light, thought that the graphics were, you know, they're okay. You've got to remember, this is a preview game. For what it is, I think it's quite well polished. I've seen much worse games that are, you know, full price, that don't play as well as this. The biggest drawback, I think, is it's quite repetitive. There isn't much more to do than just constantly gunning down all of these hundreds, and I mean hundreds of dinosaurs. They just don't stop. It's definitely a game I would recommend playing in co-op. It gets very, very overwhelming very quickly. And yeah, I do like the way that you can use those supply drops to actually kill the dinosaurs. If you time it just right, you can get some good effects with that. Be warned though, they do hit you. They don't do much damage, but they can send you flying and knock you out of the way of your intended target, as it were. The big guys here, you can see that these dinosaurs, they're pretty hard. They get varying different sort of levels of hardness. This one's just a regular one, but they glow different colours, red and purple, and you get stronger and stronger ones. I would, again, it's definitely a game I'd recommend playing in co-op. You can get very, very easily overwhelmed. There's plenty of different weapons as well. You've got about 5 different characters you can choose from. I would say that the weapons, though, some of them don't feel great. This one I'm using here is the SMG, or I was using a second ago. I personally, having played with the SMG here, I would definitely switch back to the pistol instead of the SMG. It seems way more powerful and way more accurate. The minigun is a pretty good weapon, I find. It's quite slow to upgrade. Oh, and by the way, one of the biggest faults we found is that the grenades, they don't throw anywhere near as far as you think. So you tend to end up throwing them about 10 feet in front of you, which usually isn't anywhere near quick enough. And you can see here that there's still some bugs. She managed to push me through a fence there. Surprised I didn't get turned into spaghetti being pushed through that mesh. The combat's very visceral as well, I find. It's if you like the gore, then this is definitely a good game for that. I wouldn't recommend it to kids. Although I do think that this is the sort of game that kids would quite enjoy, shooting dinosaurs. So not sure, that's a bit of a mixed message there, but so this is one of the objectives here. You've got to try and clear out these different bunkers or hangars and try to recover some of the objectives. The problem is that, like I said before, you do get overwhelmed quite quickly, and one of our biggest issues was just trying to pick up ammunition. I kind of hope that the devs make a sort of auto pickup. I can see why they haven't, mostly because there's 3 characters, and if you had an auto pickup, like you probably see here now, if I had an auto pickup, I would just pick all the ammo up. First person to it would just get all the ammo. So maybe they could incorporate some sort of, like, you can auto pick up 1 and then you have to manually pick up the second, because half the time you're in battle and you're busy trying to get the pointer exactly where you need it to pick the ammo up, and it's not easy. This is another issue as well. You can see here that I was almost managed to revive myself, and once they're on top of you, that's it. You are not getting out of there. There's no point in having that. They might as well, once they're on top of you, you might as well just quit, because you won't get, nobody can get to you, or not very easily. And yeah, it needs a rethink, I think, the refresh, the revive system. I'm going to use the minigun to its maximum potential here, and we're going to see some of the larger, slightly harder enemies. I think at this point here I had one of the purple flatbacks, I think as they're called, and yeah, it's a really good game. I really enjoyed it, actually. I did try it on my own the first time. This is me on my own here, purely just playing this just to get the video footage for this video, but I didn't enjoy it too much on my own when I first played it, and then when I jumped in with Dutch and the gang, and we had a night on it, and it was great fun. We had a good laugh at several of the items that you pick up. Some of them are some of them seem a little bit suggestive, shall we say? But yeah, we had a good laugh with it, and I mean, when you're gaming, that's all you need, really. Just a good laugh with your mates. I think that's half the battle with games these days. Any minute now, you're going to see me drop another drop pod and unfortunately I have a massive problem trying to get any ammunition out of it, and I almost die just trying to pick up ammo. It's a poor system that just needs tweaking, really. Like I say, it's a preview game. It's the sort of thing that will get fixed. See the idea with these big guys, you've got to flip them over to be able to shoot them. I did find myself, especially with the minigun, running out of ammo just as I'd flipped them over. And because the reload is so slow on the minigun, by the time I'd reloaded, he'd got back up again. So, little advice for anybody playing it, make sure that you reload before you chuck a grenade at them. So you can see here now I'm furiously just trying to pick up one of the ammo crates. It took me far too long. So I hope they fix that. He's down though. Have it. Okay, so I put this bit of video in, partly because I just wanted to show that, you know, even though it's a preview game, I'm quite impressed with the fact that even under stress, there isn't really any sort of frame skips or, you know, frame rate issues of any kind. You'll see in a second now, I light the place up. That barrel is on fire. It's about to go off. There's another one over there, and the whole thing goes off. And it was just smooth. It played really well. I have to say that the devs have done a really good job of making the performance on this game work really well. You know, all those bullets, all that blood, all that explosions, and it didn't miss a beat. Really impressive. I was very impressed with that bit. So this bit here is towards the end of the mission that I did anyway, and yeah, you'll see that you get overwhelmed. I get really overwhelmed, and there's nothing I can do. I struggled again trying to pick up ammunition, and this thing, the red, it's got, I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but when they go red, that's obviously like the purple ones, they're a harder enemy. That happens a lot as well, I find. When you're walking backwards to try and sort of keep your distance, you end up walking off things. That thing can hit you through things, by the way. Yeah, found that out the hard way. And then any second now, I try and bring in some help.
Sarah, could you be a dare and send supplies?
And yeah, just struggling. That's another thing as well that I've noticed there. It takes a few seconds for the actual stuff to pop up, so you can't even grab stuff straight away.
I'm down.
And there I am. I'm stuck. Well, that's the end of the video, and I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that watched, and I'm hoping to do more of these videos soon. Thanks again, guys. Take care.